Okay, class, today we're going to read Freya, Finn, and the Fantastic Flute. Once upon a dance, Freya and her brother Finn were off to visit their favorite aunt at her beachside cottage. The children adored their Aunt Gail. She lived alone and apart from her brood of cats that followed her everywhere. However, there were rumors of strange music coming from her attic in the evenings. Some people even said they saw dancing ghosts and monsters in the windows. The children were determined to ask their aunt about this trip. Finn was so excited, he drummed in the air with an enthusiastic, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." Freya giggled as she joined her brother dancing around the room. "Oh yeah, oh yeah."
Aunt Gail lived on an island, so the children had to take the ferry to get there. It felt as if their vacation started the moment their mother drove the car onto a boat. They stood on the deck and took pictures, ate snacks, and watched a whale leap out of the water. When their ferry docked, Freya and Finn saw the welcoming sight of the island's bright, colorful houses with fragrant flowers growing in their gardens. Their mother hugged them and said, "I'll miss you both, but I'm sure I'll get lots of work done while you two are having fun." The children smiled and waved goodbye as they ran up the trail with their Aunt Gail and their cats waiting.
It wasn't long before they arrived at their aunt's cottage. The cats ran off to nap in the afternoon sun as Freya and Finn ran up the path to the front door. At night, the cottage could feel a little creepy, especially when they climbed the squeaky stairs to bed or had to brush cobwebs away in the guest rooms. But they always forgot about their fears once the sun came up. After breakfast every morning, Freya and Finn would run to the beach and play in the waves as they crashed against the sand. On rainy days, their aunts would tell them stories about the trinkets she kept in a glass cabinet. Her favorite possession was a golden flute, but so far she hadn't told them anything about it.
As soon as they had unpacked, the kids begged to go out in kayaks, but Aunt Gail said the paddle would have to wait. "Dinner is almost ready," said their aunt, "and the sun will soon set." Dinner was a delicious outdoor feast of Freya and Finn's favorite foods. After they helped clean up, Aunt Gail lit a fire, and the three of them gathered around to warm their hands and feet as they toasted marshmallows. The flames reminded Finn of battling ninjas dancing in the air.
As they stared at the flames, Freya leaned forward with her hands under her chin and asked, "Is there anything living in your attic, Aunt Gail?" Her aunt looked surprised. "What do you mean?" Anything like ghosts or monsters." "People say they can hear music and see strange things through the window," said Finn. Their aunt looked at them as she was about to say something, but then shook her head. "It's late and time to go to bed. Off you go now, off you go." The kids put their hands in their hips, stomped one foot, and then let out a little piff from disappointment. They went inside and headed back up the creaky stairs to bed.
Aunt Gail poured water on the fire until the flame was out. When everything was cleaned up, she sighed and her shoulders relaxed. It had been a while since she's cooked and entertained. Now it was time to enjoy a moment of peace and a nice cup of tea. She went to the kitchen, reached up and took a cup from the cupboard, poured water from the tea kettle, and plopped in a tea bag. Then she sat back on her rocking chair and stroked one of her cats as she waited for her tea. The gentle rocking of the chair and purring of her cat were so peaceful, her eyes began to close.
Aunt Gail opened her eyes and picked up her cup. As she took her first sip, she heard noises coming from the attic. It sounded like someone was walking around and rolling on the floor. The critters were up to their tricks again. Aunt Gail shrugged her shoulders and laughed. "Ha ha! As long as things didn't get out of hand, little creatures could have their fun." Perhaps she should tell Freya and Finn about the creatures in her attic, but she didn't want to scare them, and she stopped from visiting them. Aunt Gail's eyes felt heavy as she nodded off to sleep, dreaming of dancing zombies in ballet class.
The play in the attic continued, but now the noise sounded like stomping and clapping. Aunt Gail woke with a jolt. The critters were getting too loud. It was time for her to take action. She unlocked the cabinet and took out her flute. Putting it in her mouth, she began to play a soft, sweet melody. Instantly, the noises hushed. Breathing a sigh of relief, Aunt Gail celebrated the quiet with a chocolate cookie, then tiptoed off to bed.
The cottage was quiet. Everyone was sleeping, except for Finn. He wanted to know if the rumors were true, and whether there really were strange creatures living in the attic. It was a perfect time to investigate. He sat up and looked around. He then got out of bed, opened his door, and climbed up the attic stairs. When he reached the top, he cracked open the door and looked inside. Finn couldn't believe what he saw. Staring back at him were a gathering of bats, ghosts, and little zombies.
The little creatures welcomed Finn with smiles and laughter. They tumbled and jumped for joy, linked elbows, and spun around each other. Finn and his new friends danced and frolicked until the sun came out. At daybreak, tired but happy, Finn was ready to leave the attic. The smell of pancakes wafted up the stairs and into the room. He said goodbye to his new friends and headed to the door. But the little creatures wouldn't have it. They shouted, "No, no, no, you can't go!" And they blocked his way.
Downstairs, Gail and Freya were busy in the kitchen making breakfast. Freya helped her aunt flip the pancakes in the frying pan. Then she poured 3 glasses of milk and put them on the kitchen table. Freya called up the stairs to her brother. "Hey, sleepyhead, come down here and help me set the table." When Finn didn't answer, she shrugged. "I guess he's still sleeping. I'll go and wake him up." Freya stomped up the stairs to the bedroom, to Finn's room.
Freya pulled the bed covers back to wake up her brother. To her surprise, Finn wasn't there. She looked under the bed and inside the wardrobe. She looked everywhere she could think to look, and then called his name. Up in the attic, Finn could hear his sister's calls. He darted for the door again, but the zombies pulled him back. "Freya," he shouted, "I'm in the attic! Help!"
Freya hurried upstairs and pulled open the attic door. Oh my, she said in surprise. Little green zombies were holding Finn's arms, and flappy bats were holding his legs. Floating him around, the ghosts were wailing, "Ooh, ooh." Freya tried unsuccessfully to free her mother. "I'll get Aunt Gail," she said. "Please hurry, I'm really hungry," said Finn. Freya ran down to find her aunt holding the flute from the cabinet. "There's only one way to calm these silly spirits in the attic. I'm sorry, I'm too worn out." "You'll have to try," said Aunt Gail told Freya. "Oh, there's Finn getting held down by the monsters and the bats and the zombies. He needs help. We gotta help him."
"But how?" Freya asked. Aunt Gail handed her the flute. "This is a magic flute. The music will come from you." "But Aunt Gail, I don't really know how to play," said Freya. "Just try, dear," said Aunt Gail. Freya tried. She moved her fingers up and down on the buttons and blew as hard as she could, but the flute was silent.
"Let's blow, come on, keep blowing."
Freya looked ready to cry. Aunt Gail smiled and put her hands on Freya's shoulders. "Freya, do you love your brother?" asked her aunt. And there you can see she's got the magic flute.
"Of course," said Freya. "I mean, sometimes he's annoying, but I always love him." "When was the first time you felt overwhelming love for your brother?" asked her aunt. A flood of memories burst to Freya's mind. "I remember when he came home from the hospital and Mom put him in my arms. I felt like I was inside of a beautiful rainbow." Use that memory, Freya. Imagine the rainbow. Feel your brother's warmth in your arms and try to play the flute again. We're going to try and play the flute again. There's her good memories.
Freya tried. Music flowed from the flute all the way to the attic. As soon as the gentle notes reached the creatures, the zombies and bats let go of Finn's arms. The bats stopped being boisterous. The ghosts gave up on being giddy, and and the zombies quit their zany tricks. With relief, Finn waved goodbye and hurried to where Freya and Aunt Gail were waiting. After a big hug, everyone went to the kitchen to eat breakfast. Aunt Gail promised to tell the children all about her magic flute and how the creatures came to live in her attic later that evening. There's a big hug.
But first, it was time to go kayaking. Let's go kayaking. Let's kayak out.
They saved their brother. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed.